a holistic approach towards writing MBA application essays. To begin with, the first step should be brainstorming. Decide 20 highlights about your candidature. Remember, on the following lines, this is an exhaustive list of virtues that MBA admission committees respect. Please pause the video and absorb these virtues. Compare your profile with these virtues and come up with 20 main points about your candidature. Try to address as many of these virtues as you can. And rather than subjective claims, please try to come up with concrete examples wherever possible. The next step would be storyboarding. These elements, academic background, professional experiences along with job switches, need for MBA, why the particular school, career goals immediately after MBA, specific career goals in terms of a profile and an industry, long-term career goals, and a career vision of sorts, that what impact do you want to leave on your industry and functional area. All these elements put together would form your story. So put all these elements together and come up with a narration that can be called a visionary story. This is the most important part of the entire application process. Then get on to writing the essays. The approach I suggest is to first write the core essays, the main 6-7 essays, and thereafter go about converting these main essays into the specific essays required by each of the institution that you are applying to. In case you are applying to just one or two schools, you may want to directly get onto those particular essays that need to be written. First of all, you must write the statement of purpose. The standard question is generally, why is now the best time for you to pursue an MBA? What are your career goals? How will your background, together with the particular MBA you are applying for, help you achieve your career goals? Different schools may word it differently, but you must try to cover all the three parts of the question regarding why is this the best time, what are your goals, and how will your background together with the particular MBA help you in achieving those goals. The word limit is generally between 400 and 750 words. An effective structure for an MBA statement of purpose. Remember, there is no single correct way towards essay writing. What I am giving you is just to give you an idea of how you can build the essay. A strong opening first of all, roughly 10% of the word limit. Thereafter, you can come to the academic and personal summary, a good 15% of the essay. Then professional summary, another 15-20% of the essay. Co-curricular summary, another 10% of the essay. Then you can talk about the need for an MBA now, why the particular school in another 15%, career goals, post-MBA, long-term career vision, have a separate paragraph for this, a good 15% of the essay, and have a strong ending, the last 10%. The second essay I recommend writing is the contribution essay. The typical question is, peer learning is an important aspect of the MBA experience. How will your presence contribute to the learning experience of your batchmates? Word limit for this question is generally between 400 and 600 words. An effective structure for this one, think of a powerful opening. It is optional and can as well go up to 20% of the essay. If you are at all choosing to have an opening, try to summarize that why you make a very worthy classmate. Then talk about the first reason, good 20%. Give examples wherever possible. Try to have a broad reason, such as the extent of your professional experience will help you in contributing to the classroom discussions. And then over the course of paragraph, you can elaborate on how. Then the second reason, another 20% with examples. Third reason, another 20% examples. So this way try to have 3 or 4 buckets. Each paragraph becomes a bucket in which you put all the virtues pertaining to that bucket. And then have a powerful ending, the last 20% of the essay. Next, I suggest writing around 4 situational stories. They will help you not only in your essays, but also at the interview stage. Write a leadership story, professional challenge story, formative incident story, ethical dilemma story, failure story. some of these stories may overlap. An effective structure for these story-based essays: have a powerful opening, optional if at all, give it only 10% or so. A clear background to the situation, very important. Describe the situation, mention the stakes, potential repercussions. Then talk about how you got involved into the situation. See if you can showcase the quality to take on challenges, take initiatives. Thereafter, talk about what you did and what was the outcome. Clearly suggest the planning you did, the concrete steps you took. This paragraph is an opportunity to reflect upon your qualities. Thereafter, finally, have a strong paragraph about what you learned from the incident and have a powerful ending. The next step is what we call at Experts Global retrofitting, which is about converting the core essays that you wrote, explained over the last 5 minutes or so, into the final essays as per the exact questions demanded by the schools that you are applying to. So convert the groundwork into the final essays for all schools as per the exact questions and word limits. Then take a gap and see your essays after a few days. You will always see some scope of improvement. Have a mentor or a buddy whom you can take opinions from. Please avoid too many opinions. There is nothing like a correct essay. If people tell you that these essays don't feel like MBA application essays, trust me, they are only giving you a compliment. It means you have been able to bring your own flavor and personalize your essays. Some broad tips regarding essay writing. Number 1, try to cover all the highlights of your candidature without making any content seem force-fitted. Make your essays personal, have an emotional appeal. Crucial, never use templates, someone's old essays or stuff from the internet. These cheeky tricks are not only ineffective in that they pollute your thought process and affect the quality of the work, but they are also very dangerous. There have been cases where MBA degrees of the students have been cancelled when later they were found guilty of plagiarism. Structure is the key. Before writing any essay, decide the flow that you are going to have. Use language and a vocabulary that is natural to you. It's about the message, the content, and force fitment of a high vocabulary ends up doing more harm than good. Naivety in one's original style is generally a blessing. It only makes your work, your essays, look original. Of course, the content, the message has to be impactful. Sound positive, inspired. Never have a complaining tone or a criticizing tone or a defeatist tone suggesting that you have not been doing very well in your career and therefore you want to do an MBA. Give your story the structure that it has been an eventful journey so far. You are proud of it. You want to do bigger things in life. You want to enrich your skills for the same, and therefore you want to go back to the school and evolve to be a better version of yourself. This is a positive, inspiring story. Talk on those lines. Focus on takeaways for the reader. It is not about killing the word limit, answering the question, writing an essay as such. It is about letting the reader know you better. Whatever you write, keep in mind that you are going to give takeaways. Focus on tangible and concrete achievements, experiences, and aspirations. Avoid wishy-washy content and give examples wherever possible. This was the concept, guys. To get a strong grasp over the entire MBA applications process, please watch all the 20+ videos in this series. Thanks for watching.